people out here, man. You're gonna die in your own miseries.
Yep.
The Most High gonna give you what you want and take it from you. That's how cold the Most High is. He'll give you everything you desire and take it right from your ass.
That's right. Hey, and I seen digital diagrams of that missile, that new Satan missile the brother was reading about in the article. I seen that thing evade, like, they showing what it can do. Like, the whole, the sonar, you know what I'm talking about? It'll go around it like this. And then the airspace, maneuver. Like, yo, man, it's intelligent, man.
That's actually a newer missile than the Satan II. The Satan II redirects in the air both of the ways. The missile this brother talking about,
it's more advanced than that one.
Well, the Satan II just moves around in the air, so it just keeps retargeting. The one the brother's talking about, these fly up under radar, real low to the ground at hypersonic speed. So you can't even detect it on the radar. By the time you see it, it hits your ass.
That's the one I'm talking about. They going underneath shit, moving fast. I mean, like going in curves like this. You can't deal with that, man.
The imagery that they showed, I believe, we're speaking about the same thing. There was a ship that was hidden behind another island, and these missiles were shot off, and it went low. It didn't even go over the island. The island wasn't tall, like going around these buildings. All right, the radar system is up above all of that, like where the planes fly. So the missiles never was even seen on there, and it came around on the side. And before, when you seen it, and you was preparing to launch off your defense mechanism, you was already hit. All right,
finished, toast, man. When the Lord said, "I created the smith that blew up the coals in the fire," man, the Lord wasn't playing, man. These missiles are going to touch down, man. They going to touch down, yo. There's no way you can stop it, man. There's no way, bro. There's no way you can stop it. You saw the video I was talking about, man. That shit was like this. It went underneath the radar, did like this, and went around some more systems that detected. Man, come on, man. You people are a joke, man.
White people. White people.
They got the hypersonic ones too. The ones that just go straight up in there, man.
Russian President Vladimir Putin says that he got nuclear weapons that are invincible.
And that the nuclear arms race is back on, threatening to turn tensions with Washington into a new Cold War.
We are in this environment where both Russia and the U.S. are introducing new weapons.
To the American people, this administration's highest priority is your safety and security.
The new nuclear policy came out on February 2nd, and the Pentagon called for the introduction of 2 new types of nuclear weapon delivery systems, and mainly aimed at Russia. Putin actually said that it was a response to that. So the question is, are we in this environment where we're back in an arms race and both the US and Russia are going to be trying to introduce new capabilities to pressure one another? The main thing that Putin said today that's important is that it's a cruise missile. It's not a ballistic missile. And cruise missiles, they hug terrain and they travel very quickly, and so that makes it very hard for defenses to protect against them. The fact that Russia is putting new threatening cruise missiles into their arsenal makes it much harder, of course, for the U.S. to defend against them, because we have very limited defenses against cruise missiles, full stop, whether they're nuclear or not nuclear. And one of the things to keep in mind is that the genesis of U.S. missile defense systems was in the Cold War era. And the initial idea was that the U.S. could build some sort of giant shield that would protect against all the Soviet missiles that might hit the U.S. homeland.
That we could intercept and destroy strategic ballistic missiles before they reached our own soil or that of our allies.
But after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the U.S. reoriented its missile defense program towards rogue actors such as Iran and North Korea, kind of giving up the idea that we would be able to protect the United States against, or needed to protect the United States against a full-blown missile attack, and instead focusing our efforts on, could we shoot down 1, 2, 3, a handful of missiles that are coming from North Korea at the United States. Putin is saying that these new missiles that Russia is developing would be able to penetrate U.S. missile defenses. There's no way that U.S. missile defenses would be able to fend off a full-scale attack from Russia anyway. Russia has thousands of missiles, including intercontinental ballistic missiles. They could launch more missiles than we have interceptors. The way we prevent a full-blown confrontation like that with Russia is by having a nuclear deterrent. The sort of flip side of are we in a new arms race is, what is the future of arms control? Are we going to be able to come up with a new agreement with Russia? Are we going to be able to build that trust and have the diplomatic power to get there? And right now there's a big question mark over that.
On March the 1st, President Putin announced a new generation of weapons vastly superior to anything developed around the world.
У России такое оружие есть.
A hypersonic system, an ICBM with unlimited range, weapons that can fly through dense layers of the atmosphere, a nuclear-powered cruise missile, underwater drones, a unique combat laser complex. That got everyone talking about an arms race and that deadly Russian missile. But from Russia's point of view, it's the one that feels threatened and wants to restore nuclear parity. So how does that work? And what did Putin mean when he said,
Нас никто не слушал. Послушайте сейчас.
To be clear, nuclear parity came as a result of an arms race. It was provoked by the first and so far only nuclear strike in history, when the US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. Estimates put the total number of casualties at up to 450,000. By 1949, the USSR had its own nuclear weapon ready. By 1952, the US tested the first thermonuclear device. A year later, the Soviet Union followed suit. Both sides began to develop ballistic missiles in an attempt to get ahead of each other. The US installed nuclear weapons in Turkey, and the USSR put missiles in Cuba. It was followed by the Cuban crisis, which saw the world teeter on the brink of nuclear war, until Moscow and Washington realized there could be no winners. That's when the period of détente came about. By the early 1990s, it seemed the tension between the two countries was over. It was a time of promises, although some would prove empty over time. NATO famously promised Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev that it would not move an inch to the east.
Даже такие были выражения, как это было у Бейкера, у секретаря, что мы и на 10 сантиметров не двинемся в интересах НАТО или что-то.
Recently declassified documents on the 1990 negotiations proved Russia's account is accurate.
If we maintain a presence in a Germany that is part of NATO, there would be no extension of NATO's jurisdiction for forces of NATO 1 inch to the east.
There would be no effort to exclude anyone, and there would be no step taken at this time to push anyone ahead of others.
In 1994, the US changed its mind about expanding east.
We're going to move forward on this, but I'd never spring this on you.
But over the past 18 years, NATO's been joined by Hungary, Poland, the Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Romania, Slovakia, Albania, Croatia, Montenegro, as well as the former Soviet republics of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. NATO is now at Russia's doorstep. Here is an online meme on how Russia moved its country too close to NATO's military bases. Furthermore, the US moved its missile defenses closer to Russia's borders, another promise broken by Washington. In 2002, the US pulled out of the ABM treaty signed decades before when the Soviet Union was still in place. What is missile defense? It enables one party to launch its own missiles and intercept any counterstrike. It could guarantee victory in a potential war. Of course, NATO and the US say their missile defenses are not against Russia, but against Iran and North Korea. But the locations tell another story. Missile defense installations were placed in Poland, Romania, California, and Alaska. They're also planned for Japan and South Korea. Missile defense ships patrol the seas close to Russian territory.
Создаются системы, элементы систем противоракетной обороны, что нас очень беспокоит, и мы постоянно об этом говорим в течение 10 лет. Это разрушает стратегический баланс в мире.
The balance is disrupted, and Russia, which hasn't ramped up its missile defenses like the US, is facing a deadly danger.
Вы же все понимаете, о чем идет речь. Чего молчите-то? Вы все молчите. Ситуация усугубляется, ведь это подталкивает гонку вооружений, новый виток создает. Это же очевидная вещь. Вот мы все время думаем, а как ответить? Мы думаем, совершенствовать систему, значит, преодоления систем противоракетной обороны. Вот это и есть виток гонки вооружений.
Russia says it was forced to come up with a weapon capable of bypassing missile defenses in order to restore nuclear parity. The Kinjal MiG-31 can launch hypersonic missiles that can travel at more than 10 times the speed of sound. Thanks to that and their unpredictable trajectory, they are unstoppable. It's an unrivaled weapon. The US doesn't plan to test its hypersonic weapon until 2019. The Avangard hypersonic vehicle can fly at up to 20 times the speed of sound. An ICBM will take it to an altitude of several dozen kilometers, from where it can dive headfirst back to Earth at top speed with aircraft-like maneuverability, dodging any missile defenses. In contrast, when other existing ballistic missiles re-enter the atmosphere, they fly at a preset trajectory, making them easy targets for ABM systems. Sarmat might seem like an ordinary ICBM, but its range is much longer. The legendary Topol-M missiles can only take the shortest route through the ABM systems. Sarmat can travel via the North or the South Pole where there's no missile shield, and it will still hit its target. But most importantly, Sarmat is a heavy missile capable of carrying more than 20 warheads. That's 5 times more than previous generation missiles. The Burevestnik nuclear-powered cruise missile is a unique weapon. It's basically the same as an American Tomahawk. Whereas the Tomahawk's range is limited to 2,500 kilometers because of fuel constraints, Russia's new missile can fly indefinitely. It can take any path to avoid missile defenses. Just like Poseidon underwater drones. Similar to the regular drones we're used to, except these are submarine launched and travel at incredible speeds towards their targets under the sea. They run so deep that no equipment can track them. Even if detected, their high speed prevents them from being intercepted. The new weapons can work together to neutralize any existing missile defense systems. Kinjal can destroy ground-based ABM systems. Poseidon drones take care of those at sea. Then, the Sarmat, Avangard, and cruise missiles can be launched towards their target, bypassing any remaining barriers. On top of that, there's also a combat laser complex, Peresvet, which is unique because it almost instantly delivers an energy beam to a target and has an unlimited battle reserve. Developing new weapons is not a belligerent move, rather a move to restore parity. Perhaps this time the call for a balance of force and fair treatment all round will be heard.
Нас никто не слушал. Послушайте сейчас.
Fall for thy sake. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy.